one round, all the way down one round.
Yeah.
Right? So the trend's one round.
Yeah, exactly. And you can even do Justino wins by TKO or KO at -325 too. So, that's a possibility if you're just not sure about the first round there, if you want to have a little bit of play on there. All right, my man. Well, I think that covers your UFC plays. Real quick, I think you have some NFL season win totals. Looks like you delved into some NFL already. That's the other sport that you handicap. What are do you have some plays for us?
Yeah, we're going to do a little over-under here for the season, right? And I think we've been doing this a couple years now. And every year, what team do I touch? The Bears.
The Bears.
Yeah. and I'm usually spot on with them, right? And I think I do pretty well. That's the pulse. That's my team. That's the guys I follow, right? So I really watch them. So, listen. Everybody's back. It's exciting, right? And to me, football has started, right? Everybody's getting into training camp, and now we're going to start seeing, this guy's got a little injury here. This guy's going. So, look, Vegas is telling us last year, the Bears, I think, were coming off of 5.5 or 6 or something like that, and they blew past that total pretty quick, right? So this year, Vegas goes, you want to know what? Bears over under 9. And I look at it and I go, are you kidding me? And I go, all right, well, let me start looking around. Let me look at their schedule. Yeah, the schedule's difficult. It's okay, right? I look at when they're playing these when they're playing these teams, right? How are they scheduled? They've got a lot of difficult games, but they're home. The difficult games are home. The Saints, who I think are going to drop off a little bit from last year, it's a home game. The Chargers, who I'm not crazy about with Phillip Rivers because he can't win a big game for his life, at home. Dallas, at home. KC, at the end of the year, at home, right? They've got some hard road games, Rams, and then Philly, and then the Rams. But Bears already beat them last year, and on top of it, I don't think the Rams are going to be as high-flying as they were last year. For a number of reasons. And the biggest one is at running back. Okay? I think they've been exposed. I don't think they're going to have a great year. They're going to win games, but I don't think it's going to be as high flying. With that said, it's a difficult schedule, right? 9 wins. If they get 9 wins, the season's a complete fail. This team is looking like an 11-win team. The reason why they're sitting at 9 and not higher is because there's no faith in Mitch Trubisky. Mitch Trubisky was the worst quarterback in the league in the second quarter, and I think he was top 5 or top 3 in the league in fourth quarter. He would have won that Philly game if it wasn't for the double doink. So he brought the team down, and they should have won that Philly game. It didn't happen, and he would have been looked at a little bit different because he brought the team down. With that said, he's going to take a big step forward. They're bringing back all their starters on both sides of the ball, except for Amos on the defensive end and Howard on the offensive end. But I think they upgraded there, and then they also replaced him with Clinton Dix. The team is gelling. They're together. They've been playing together. Yes, they lost Vic Fangio, but they replaced him with Chuck Pagano. He's no spring chicken. He's been around. He knows how to run a defense. He's not changing anything. It's going to be the same exact thing. In fact, I could see it being even better. 85 Bears, 86 Bears. 86 Bears had a better defense, but their quarterback got hurt because of Green Bay, and ultimately they didn't win a playoff game, but that defense was better than the year before. This potentially could happen, the same thing here. And the reason why all these guys have gelled, they're very young. The only thing I can tell you about the Bears is they were, for the most part, pretty healthy last year. Trubisky was out a couple games, which ultimately affected their offense. And then Mack was out for a couple of games, which they overcame with the other players. But this team is loaded on both sides of the ball, and they should be winning games. They don't have John Fox as their head coach anymore. There's a real head coach in there. The defense is going to be exactly where it was, maybe even better. That offense is going to get better. If they win 9 games, it's a complete failure for this year. I could see 11 games this year that are taken.
Yeah. So, I agree with you. I lean to the over. My number was 9.6 on the Bears, and everybody. There's a lot of people saying I don't believe in Mitch Trubisky. I think it's just like one person hears I don't believe in Mitch Trubisky, and the next person says, "Oh, well, you know what? I don't believe in him either." It's like why don't you believe in him? I mean, the thing that should tell you what he's about is this was their first playoff game, nerves, all that. And yeah, Mitch didn't have a great first half. I mean, they were playing the Super Bowl champion Eagles. But the most important thing, the very last drive where it all came down to it, he drove down the field and put the team with his arm into field goal range. And then we obviously know what happened after that. but he did the job with all the pressure. That's what people are missing on this guy. Plus, with Matt Nagy, this guy makes something out of nothing, out of quarterbacks. You see what he's done with, obviously, Patrick Mahomes, but even before that, he's been the quarterback whisperer over there, So, in my opinion, the Bears should go over 9 wins. The only thing that's holding me back is if Trubisky gets injured or a schedule. I don't like their backup quarterback, and I still think they're trying to find a kicker. That was a boneheaded mistake from Pace. Now Robbie Gould's the highest paid kicker in history.
That was a Fox. That was a Fox move. Now it's coming out. That was a Fox move, and they got rid of Robbie, and that was really Fox pushing him out the door. So his hands were tied there. But anyways, listen, they've got 2 young kids. Maybe there's a cut going on. One of these kids will come out, and as long as they're not, just hit the field goals, make it easy, don't make it difficult. And look, the Bears could have won 15 games last year. As ridiculous as it sounds, they could have. It was just really that kicking game that blew it. But with that said, they should be better this year. I mean, look, if you're going into a season and you're talking about the biggest problem the Bears have right now is a kicker, that's pretty good.
Yeah, well, hopefully they're not in that position again if they don't find somebody. I know they've been having a lot of guys in the tryout, but they've been awfully quiet about it lately. But hey, I think anything's better than Double Doink was. So I think there's a lot of optimism too. Plus, last year, like I said, they could have been 14-2 real easily if Parkey didn't miss the field goal against Miami. That was a game-winning field goal he missed. And if Mitch was healthy for the Giants game where they lost, they didn't let that Packer comeback happened the first game of the year. So they easily could have been 14 wins last year too.
Which I blame on Vic, that first game of the year, Vic Fangio, because he took his foot off the gas for that defense, and that fourth quarter they blew it. They stopped doing exactly what they were doing. And anyways, that's my opinion on that one. But anyway, look, it's a new season. Right. And this is the year that I think that everybody expected the Bears to take a big step up. Last year was a team that jumped up pretty quick and kind of surprised a lot of people. But ultimately, this was the year that everybody says, you want to know what? This is when this team's going to gel. And I think that all these guys have a sense of urgency and feel like they can win it all. If you could feel like you could win it all and they're proving it, and they did well against playoff teams last year, I'm going to buy in.
All right, Danny, sorry to cut you off. We only have 5 minutes left, my man. What do you got next?
Okay, Oakland Raiders, over under at 6. I'm not sure if anyone's buying what the Raiders are selling, but look, they tanked last year for draft picks, which is okay. I get it. They're rebuilding. They're going to Las Vegas next year. Look, the next step is to bring in old veterans, right, to sell some tickets. Look, these guys that they're bringing in, Vontez Burfict, Antonio Bryant, the wide receiver, they could easily blow up the locker room pretty quick. I like David Carr. I think he's a solid guy. But, again, I don't know how much Gruden likes him, right? If they gave him a lot of money, does Gruden want to get rid of him and start fresh here? They brought in a bunch of free agents to fill the roster. I'm not crazy about this. It's not Madden football where you could just trade or bring anybody on board and everything clicks. It takes time for these things to click, right? They won 4 games last year. And what did they get in return? 4 games. What did they get in return? A brutal schedule. I mean, this has to be the worst schedule in the league. Check this out. Ready? Starting in week 2, they go to Kansas City. So they get 2 home games. They go to Kansas City. And then they go Minnesota. They go to the Colts. They go play the Bears at home, but guess where home is? London. They get a bye week, then they go to Green Bay, and then they go to Houston. You realize in all of October, they're not going to play one game in California? Not one. Those are long, stinking trips, and anybody that travels quite a bit, I always believe going from the West Coast to the East Coast is the most difficult things you could do. Listen, and after that, they got the Chargers, right? They have to go back to New York to play the Jets, which I think are going to be improved this year. They have to go to Kansas City. They have Tennessee. They got Jacksonville as well on their schedule. Look, both of those teams can win 9-10 games, right, potentially. So, man, that's a brutal schedule, right? They could start the season 0-7. They started Denver, then, like I said, KC, and then Minnesota. That's a brutal. Yeah, that's brutal. They could start 0-7, 1-6, and then what, right? By that time, you think those veterans are going to be excited to play, right? So I'm not buying that over 6, right? If they get to 6, that's a great season, and you didn't win, you didn't lose, but it's another 4-win season, 5-win season. I don't care who they brought in there. because that is a brutal schedule.
Yeah, under 6 looks like you're going with. Yeah, they have those 5 away games in a row. And yeah, the Bears looks like a home game, but it's in London. So 5 in a row. Nobody travels more than the Raiders. I heard it was like 35,000 miles that they're traveling here. I have to agree with you. Not enough there. Antonio Brown's kind of a diva. He'll probably be complaining a little bit by the middle of the season once things aren't gelling together. Just a bad situation with them, and too many distractions. How they're moving to Vegas as well. 100%. My play was the lean. Definitely not going over. So I'm with you, my man. You have one more pick left?
Yep. Let's stay right back in the NFC North here. We're going to stick with the Green Bay Packers. When I saw the Green Bay Packers were over under at 9.5, I'm saying to myself, wait a minute, this Green Bay team's going to win 10 games? There's a lot to happen to win 10 games. What did they do over the offseason to win 10 games, right? So this entire season is going to fall on LeBron Rodgers, okay? If they win, it's going to be LeBron Rodgers. If they lose, it's going to be everybody else like they always do. So they go out and they get a new head coach, and what's the first thing that's already rumblings? In the first couple of weeks of just voluntary minicamp, there's already problems with his coaching style, right? Look, Aaron is 35, 36, all right? Last year he had a healthy season, sort of, but the guy's been taking a beating. Right, the defense isn't great. They added some defensive alignment and some linebackers that are, boom or bust kind of guys, more like a bust when you look at what they've done in the past. And then the best thing they did was add Adrian Amos to the backfield. But look, their whole defensive backcourt is extremely inexperienced and young, right? And then on top of it, on offense, what did they add? Tell me what they added. Besides LeBron Rodgers, they have Devontae Adams. But what else is there? What on that team scares you and you look at it and say, the running back doesn't do anything, right? If LeBron Rodgers doesn't like to play, he's going to change it. There's going to be a lot of infighting. So you're telling me a team that didn't do very well last year is all of a sudden going to win 10 games? With a new coach? Trying to figure these things out? Their schedule's okay. Is it difficult by all means? No. Is it easy? No. And they could certainly lose. But if LeBron Rodgers ends up getting tweaked or something, they're completely done. And there's no way they're getting the 10 wins. So,
you have to tell the audience why you call him LeBron Rodgers.
LeBron James. When he wins, it's LeBron James. When he loses, it's everybody else's fault.
I can't argue with you there.
So LeBron Rodgers, it's the same thing in Green Bay. It's always somebody else's fault. So they got rid of the guy that was his fault, their head coach, and they put somebody else in there. And now it's going to be this coach's fault. So listen, 10 wins for this Packer team, I think is going to be tough.
I see it at 9 now. I think when I first podcasted, it was at 9.5, and I told everyone I'm liking the under. You like the under. I'm seeing it at 9 minus 110. I think people are hitting the under as well. I mean, how do you go from 6.5, and I'm giving them a 0.5 because that tie against the Vikings, 6.5 wins to 9 when you your team's getting older. You cut everybody on defense. You lost Clay Matthews. Now you cut Daniels. I don't understand that one. The guy was a Pro Bowler a year and a half ago, whatever it was. Yeah. I just don't see how they can get to that number. And they got rid of Montgomery, the running back last year. Yep. It seems like it's just pretty much Rodgers and Devontae Adams, and Valdez Scantling and Allison are fighting for the second receiver position there. But, I mean, who are those guys, right? I don't know. I do like their coach, Matt LaFleur. He's a McVay guy. He went to the Titans last year. Yeah. Well, he went from the Rams to the Titans, and then he was actually good enough to get the Titans to those 7-8 wins. And because I don't think the Titans had 6 wins in them without him, but that's still not enough in my opinion. I'm just being devil's advocate here. Completely agree with you, man. The Packers, that's a bold number. A lot of people are starting to find some flaws, receptions, and his percentage of receptions is going down. So, we'll see what happens there, my man.
Yeah.
All right, Danny. Well, I think that's everything you had for the podcast, man. I really appreciate you coming on. I cannot wait for UFC 240. I love your NFL plays right there, my man. Really, really excited for this weekend. I'll be tweeting at you. Have a great time, and we'll talk to you